Drawing. It's about lines and it's about expression. Now, line isn't necessarily one-dimensional, as we sometimes tell you. Sometimes they have to have thickness. But it is really the basis for most artists. Most artists can draw, and most artists will express themselves through drawing initially. It's one of the first skills we learn, how to draw. The work of Vernon Arquet is about drawing, and it is therefore about line work. And this is a tonal drawing, a triptych, on grey using charcoal and chalk. The black is darker than the background, the white is lighter. And through the use of line, Vernon Arquet demonstrates shape and therefore form using tone and texture. It is really a great way to show an optical illusion. These images have no depth, but they appear to. Painters will often begin by drawing. Russell Drysdale's original images, of course, have to start life as a line sketch. From Renaissance times, of course, things of form had to be described using line. Drawing is therefore a skill to be acquired to assist us in making art, no matter whether we work traditionally or contemporary. Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man expressed through drawing. And even woodcuts and prints, as this Japanese woodcut here, begin life as a drawing, and therefore, even as a print, it is a form of drawing, but line work is very important. The work of Degas on closer inspection is very expressive. The soft, muted tones are developed through use of line, and you can even see the speed in which he sketched. M.C. Escher's optical illusions are finely drawn. The use of line is imperceptible, but here we see it to demonstrate tone and form. Line drawings in art can be purely expressive, like this image by Hans Hartung. You can see in which the speed the ink has been applied to the paper. Or this figure drawing by Cy Twombly, using paint and pencil and a variety of media to express the particular type of figure. Drawing doesn't have to be about pencils, it can also be about paint, but drawing is predominantly concerned with line. Even sculptors rely on drawing. The initial sketches by Henry Moore of his giant potato-like people relied on his ability to be able to draw. Shaun Tan, the Australian illustrator, his imagery is surreal and beautifully drawn and executed. On close inspection, you can see the shading techniques he used, as he's been using for decades, much like we did when we were kids. Daniel Johnston, Aubrey Beardsley, Kath Colwitt's Mother and Dead Child. There's an original study. Drawing is often a way to try and describe in design before committing to the final result. It can often be quick and effective. The work of Franz Auerbach, Pablo Picasso. Patrick Caulfield's drawings aren't done traditionally, of course, they're done digitally, but they owe a lot to the drawers of the past. Drawing isn't about pencils. Drawing is about line work, mark making, being expressive, control, thickness and thinness and so on. Comics and cartoons, like this one, Chbosky the Ultra-Modernist. And of course perhaps the most famous graphic novel of all, written by Alan Moore but drawn by Dave Gibbons, The Watchmen. Christo, the sculptor, because of the nature of what he tries to create, has to draw to begin with. He can't find another way to express it. This drawing may not be obvious to you, but it's the initial sketch for Jacob Epstein's The Rock Drill, which has since been destroyed. Sculpture can be drawing, as long as the use of line is considered. If you were to rotate this, if you were able to, you'd see the figure, human figure, just inside this mesh of lines. And here's some more all of them by Anthony Gormley, most of them self-portraits. They are sculptures, but perhaps they're also drawings. Andy Goldsworthy and his creations, well, a line has been made through the use of leaves to direct our attention. And again, these installation sculptures, temporary as much as they are, photographed so we can see them, has been created through these sticks. Is it a drawing? A line made by walking in the ground by Richard Long. This is mark making at its most basic. Perhaps it's a very simple form of drawing. Drawings sometimes are very complicated, as artworks can be too, and sometimes describe so much. Leif McGregor's ballpoint pen drawings are reminiscent of his experiences growing up and the culture he comes from. The willow pattern upside down, as it normally would be seen on a plate. Sometimes they're manic, reminiscent of the doodles and scribbles that students will do in the backs of their books. Vernon Arkay again. Expressive drawings seen from a distance, made ultimately by line, to demonstrate shape and form using tone and texture. Sometimes overtly complicated and surreal, but beautifully executed, like this drawing by Paul Noble. Or of course these pencil etchings. And it can be extremely controlled. This is a drawing, shaded beautifully, but relying on the use of line. There's so much going on, like a Hieronymus Bosch painting, a more contemporary version. And here it is. It's about relating to drawing and mark making. Drawing is mark making. Mark making is often drawing. You could use pencil, pen, quill, chalk, pastel, oil pastel, brush, roller, stick, finger, hand, body rag, cotton bud, feather knife, engraver, aerosol, string, charcoal, needle, stone, slate, graphite, wax, ink, acid, made tools, dye, bleach, found objects, oil paint, acrylic, gouache, sand, flour, food colour, sawdust, anything, as long as you can make the mark. And you can make a mark on anything. Normally a line on a flat surface, normally. Let's look at the use of pen on card. Pen drawings and some student examples. Here's the rough sketch by a student who's yet to execute the final drawing. And you can see his use of black ballpoint pen on card. You can see the curve as he tries to demonstrate the lines. As he loops down and stops suddenly, he has to loop back up again. How you draw can impact quite heavily what you might end up with on the page. 6 different drawings, all of them a little surreal, utilising perspective, but in this case, how line is utilised to demonstrate shadow. Here the line is very expressive, here more controlled. On the left, a highly controlled pen drawing. On the right, more expressive, but they're still doing the same thing. In this one, in the grounds of the school, and hidden is the small face. These are made from biros, black ballpoint pens, not particularly expensive ones. This would have taken about 4 or 5 pens to complete on A2. This one took about 6 pens to complete. There was a lot more black. As you look, again, you can see the curve of the arm as the strokes go from left to right and looping back again. You can even see it in here. But here, a bit more control. The reflection, of course. And if you look closely, you can see the reflection of the light from the photograph of the drawing. So much pen was added to this paper, the paper began to buckle underneath.